What's going on here? Hey, everybody. It's Kara Williams with Williams Immigration. I am an immigration attorney and a former USCIS Adjudications Officer up at headquarters in Washington, D.C. Now I manage and run and own a boutique immigration law firm where we help companies and entrepreneurs and families in all 50 states and internationally navigate our U.S. immigration system. For our companies, we make sure that any non-U.S. citizen employees have the right work authorized visa, and then all of the internal compliance work is there. For my we also help companies sponsor their employees for green cards. For my family-based clients, those are usually going to be a U.S. citizen or a current green card holder who wants to sponsor their family member for a green card. And they are usually sponsoring a fiance, a spouse, a parent, or a minor child. Remember, minor in U.S. immigration terms is a child that is under 21 and unmarried. So I always say if you are 20 but you are married, you can no longer ride on your parents' applications. So we are going live in the Facebook group, the private Facebook group. If you want access to that, click the link in the bio and you will see a link to that. We are going live on the Facebook page. We are going live on the YouTube channel. We're also going live over in TikTok. All of these can be found at USA Visa Guru. That's the firm handle online. What I want to talk to you about today before we kind of jump into questions, and y'all know the drill, you're welcome to put your questions in the comments and we will get to them. I want to talk to y'all today about two things. One, the potential government shutdown and what that could mean for your case. And two, the affidavit of support and what happens when you think that you don't make enough money or you have looked at the numbers and you don't make enough money. So number one, the government shutdown. We've heard it in the news. We think it's looming. And it could happen. It could not happen. As someone who has worked in the government, I have been through many of these, potential government shutdowns. If it happens, cases will stall. That is honestly just the easiest way to say it. Cases will stall. While the immigration agency itself, USCIS, is a fee-based agency, meaning that 99.9% of the way that it runs and its income comes from your filing fees, that agency still has to coordinate with other agencies. So they still have to coordinate with Department of State. They have to coordinate with the Department of Labor. They do a lot of coordination with the Department of Labor when it comes to employment-based cases. So there's a lot of coordination that happens at the headquarter level. So things will stall. They may not stop entirely, but your case will stall. I'm not going to go through each individual agency, right? But each agency, even during a government shutdown, will send essential workers will have to go to work. But if you're not an essential worker, then you're not going into work until the government shutdown is over. So your case will stall. There's just kind of no way around that. But the government will open again. Cases, people will go back to work. Coordination will occur, and things will keep moving. So hopefully there is no government shutdown, and that will not come to pass. But I will keep you updated. We'll see what happens. Before we get to affidavit of support, I want to, we've got a question over on YouTube, and it says, do you process EB3 cases? Yes. Short answer to that is yes. My firm does process EB3 cases. We also process EB1s, EB2s. We also do non-employment-based non-immigrant cases. So if you have a more specific question, you're certainly welcome to ask that as well over on YouTube, Randy. So back to our affidavit of support. If you're filing a family-based application, one of the things the Immigration Service wants to see is that you can financially support your loved one and your other folks that live in your house. So it's not just supporting your loved one that you're sponsoring, it's also supporting people in your house. Like, we don't want the people that are currently living in your house to, to have those financial issues as well. So if you meet the financial requirements, great, bada bing, bada boom, we're good to go. If you don't meet those financial requirements and you don't have the salary, or this sometimes happens, you're a business owner or you're a high net worth individual and your accountant is amazing and you take all of the deductions possible, but what that does for your bottom line salary and your bottom line income in terms of your immigration paperwork, it makes you look like you're making $2 a year. Well, that's a problem. So I've definitely had some higher net worth individuals who've had to get a joint sponsor because on paper, it looks like, they've got a great accountant and it looks like they're not making a whole lot of money. And the Immigration Service understands that that's what's happening. But now they need to see that there is somebody else who is willing to step up and step in and basically make a contract with the federal government, because that is what the joint sponsor does. They make a contract with the federal government that says, if this intending immigrant receives means-tested benefits, I, as the joint sponsor, will pay that money back if the government comes knocking on my door asking for it. Generally, that obligation is going to be for about 10 years. That's usually how the calculation works, or until that person becomes a U.S. citizen, or until they leave the U.S. But generally, as a joint sponsor, you're looking at a 10-year obligation. Your joint sponsor does not have to live with you. They do not have to be related to you. It can be a friend, it can be an acquaintance, it can be a coworker, but it has to be someone that fully understands what they are getting themselves into. So that's the joint sponsor situation that I wanted to talk to you about tonight, because I've gotten a couple questions on that from some consultations that I've done this week, as well as some of my own clients. So I see some other questions. I don't see anything else on YouTube. So let me start scrolling. What do we got here? Y'all know I'm a slow scroller, but I'm not coughing as much today, so that's a good thing. What do we got here? Is it harder to get a case approved for a second marriage? It doesn't have to be. It certainly doesn't have to be. I've had clients that have had multiple marriages. They have had multiple people who have sponsored their green cards in the past. Maybe the marriage didn't work out. They stopped the green card process. It does not have to be. It is not, a second marriage isn't something that stops the Immigration Service and says, oh, this must be horrible case. Not at all. Second marriages happen in real life. They happen in the immigration world. The most important thing about your application is that it is well done, is that it tells your story accurately. But no, I haven't found in my personal practice, I have not found that a second marriage has been a bad thing or a harmful thing to an application. My brother, a green card holder, was found guilty of DV. I'm assuming that's domestic violence, misdemeanor 1 in 2015. Can you help him naturalize? That is definitely a consultation question. That's a lot going on in that question. You or your brother need to click the link in the bio and get on my consultation calendar. That is a lot. I need to know jurisdiction. I need to know what happened. I need to know what state. I need to be able to dig into that specific area of the law, see how it intersects with the immigration law. So that is a consultation. That's not that's way more than a live. That's way more than just educational information, which we are doing this evening. Let me see what else we got here. I'm later than usual, so I feel like y'all weren't expecting to see me tonight. All right, y'all. I don't see a ton of questions coming in, so y'all know me. I will stay on as long as the questions are coming in. But if there's no questions tonight or slow questions tonight, or y'all are out hanging out tonight, I will go make some dinner, because I usually have dinner after I chat with y'all, and move it on. All right, hold on. See, every time I say I'm about to go hop off and get dinner, y'all got questions. I think those are like the magical words. Y'all are funny. Let me see here. Hold on one second. Okay, let me scroll down a little bit. I feel like for y'all, dinner, when I say that, that's like the magical words. Okay. In case decision, is case decision mean things you've been applying for, you're going to receive it. Specifically, I-765 under TPS. I do not understand your question. If you can rephrase that, that would be helpful. But I can also tell you I don't do TPS. So if it's a super, super TPS specific question, I'm not your girl. Can you do advanced parole to get that legal entry? Meaning, can you apply for advance? If you apply, if you are eligible and you apply for advanced parole is a mechanism that allows you to get on the plane and come back to the US, enter the airport, and ask for admission. Advanced parole is not a guarantee that they will let you enter. That is what advanced parole does. It is not a guarantee. So there are some folks out there who, yes, you have an advanced parole document. Maybe it is not the best that you use it, depending on your individual circumstance. So I don't know what your circumstance is. I don't know if you should be using it. But there are certainly some strategies around having an advanced parole and using an advanced parole. Those are two different things. And I make sure that I talk to my clients about that. Let's see here. Why did USCIS take away the grant date? Why did USCIS take away the grant date when you check for verification of citizenship? I don't know what you're asking. Take away the grant date? Are you talking about the date where USCIS actually determines that you're a US citizen? Because the day that you are sworn in is the day that you are considered a US citizen. The day that you have your interview is not the day that you become a US citizen. You become a US citizen when you are sworn in. So there are folks out there who have applied for US citizenship, gone to the interview, told they were approved or told whatever. They never went to their swearing in ceremony. If that was, if they were issued a swearing in ceremony, or they weren't, but they never attended a swearing in ceremony, that person is not a US citizen. So keep that in mind. So I'm not quite sure what you mean by your grant date. Yeah, so just definitely keep that in mind. You're not a US citizen until you are sworn in and you receive your certificate. And back over on YouTube, back over on Facebook, rather. Can I call and talk to you? Of course, absolutely. You can click the link. And there is a consultation link. You can click that, get yourself on my calendar, and I am happy to chat with you about EB3. So I'm more than happy to do that. I do EB3s all day, every day. How long after an EAD card for travel documents? Not quite sure what you mean. If you are asking how long after it's approved, do you receive your travel document in the mail? It's usually a couple weeks. If that is not what you're asking, I need you to kind of re-put that in the chat, and we can see if we can kind of nail in your question a little bit. Since November 2022, I filed for my AOS, my adjustment based on a K1. No EAD card received yet. Is that normal? Kind of, yeah. I mean, they're not, y'all. Immigration's not quick. Like it's not quick at all. But what you can do is you can go to the USCIS website, uscis.gov. You can scroll down, and there is a section regarding processing. So you can look up the processing times online, and they will tell you essentially, what their average processing time is. They give you the case processing times for 80% of the cases that are like yours. Do I find November, 2022 to September 23? I mean, it's a long time, but I don't know that it is for that particular case type out of their current case processing. When my clients ask me about case processing and when I'm giving them updates, I look them up right then and there. So I don't know all of the processing times off the top of my head. Hey, I just joined. Hey, Monica, how are you? Do you know how long humanitarian parole is currently taking? I know no processing times off the top of my head. Absolutely none. So that I don't know. That's something I'd have to look up. I got a case decision on my 765. I'm waiting for, how long do you think I maybe receive my work permit? So I'm going to assume that case decision was an approval for 765, which is an EAD card, employment authorization document. Assuming it's approved, assuming everything's working in the print center, it should take a couple weeks, honestly. Could it take longer? Absolutely. But it takes a couple weeks once we get an approval notice for the cards to then be issued. If that card is advanced parole, if that card is an EAD, if that is a combo card, which is an EAD and advanced parole in one card, or if that is a green card. Usually, if things are working the way they should and working the way the agency wants them to, from the approval to the card being mailed is usually only a couple of weeks. Once it is approved, then they send that notice of approval to the folks that print the cards. The folks print the cards, then they pop them in the mail, and then it gets to you. Now, if your mail is particularly slow, or you're in a rural area, or there's something going on with your local mail, it'll take longer. If you have moved, you should have let the Immigration Service know that you have moved. When you move, you let immigration know and you let your post office know. Trying to get documents where immigration has said, oh, well, we mailed it, and the post office says, well, we don't have it, that is a nightmare. So if you are moving during the middle of your immigration process, you must keep immigration informed, but you also must let your post office know. You must give them a forwarding address so that they can actually get your notices and your mail to you. Now, my clients, I get mail as well. I get a duplicate copy of everything that my clients get. So if they move and mail gets lost and their post office is slow, I know the people at my post office. I ask them, I'm like, okay, I'm expecting this mail, like what's going on? So, just keep that in mind, y'all. Keep that in mind if you're moving. How many forms to be filed to bring a child under 18 to the United States? That is a consultation question. That's a consultation question. I have no idea what you're trying to do, what your own status is. That's a consultation question. These lives are to give you some general information. What I can't do is kind of walk you through how to file things. So this is super general. This is, to give y'all some real general high level information. While I am an attorney, an immigration attorney for 25 years, I am not your immigration attorney. So I will never give you super specific legal advice on a live. I will never give you super specific legal advice in a DM. The way to get super specific legal advice about your individual situation is to click the link in the bio. All of my engagements begin with a consultation, every last one of them, so that I can talk to you, figure out what's going on, dig in where I need to dig in. And it gives you an opportunity to ask me questions as well, and figure out if we are a good fit to work together. So that is definitely a consultation question. I got my EAD card, but travel document timelines keep changing. What are the usual timelines? I'm so glad you said that, because I say this all the time. Y'all, timelines are fluid. Timelines are fluid. Timelines are going to change. Cases being processed by USCIS get transferred from one office to another in an attempt to even out the workload so that immigration can work through their current backlog. That is a good thing. But that also means that you are trying to figure out, one, where your case is, and two, what the new timeline is, right? There is no sort of usual timeline, right? Timelines are very, very fluid. So when my clients ask for timelines, I tell them I can give you what I see in the system today, right now. Understand in 6 weeks, that may change. Understand in 6 months, that will most definitely change, right? As the Immigration Service tries to work through this COVID backlog, which is massive, they are doing what they can. So your timelines are going to change, period, end of story. But the fact that you have your EAD card is great. I would take that as a win. And you can keep checking online to check and see what those timelines are. But I don't have a magic wand, unfortunately, to kind of tell you when you can expect the approval, or when the timelines are going to change. So sorry. Wait, I just saw something. K1 interview wait time in Kenya. I have no idea. They do not, consulates by and large do not give us their timelines like that. I know there was sort of a move to change that, but I haven't had to check on a K1 coming out of Kenya. But y'all, let me say this. Y'all have a lot of questions about timelines and wait times, and I totally get that. Those are valid questions. Y'all are like chomping at the bit all the time about processing times. Here's the thing about wait times and processing times and when you can expect things. One of the benefits, hands down, of working with a lawyer is that we can communicate and push and try to have conversations with and reach out to USCIS, Department of Labor, and consulates. That's not to say that we're always going to get the answer that we want, and it's not to say that we're always going to get an answer. But I feel very comfortable reaching out to these agencies and saying, what's going on? We are beyond, the stated processing times. When can we expect this? We haven't heard from you in quite some time. Do you need something from us? Because if you need something from us, just tell us. I say that to them all the time. I'm like, listen, I'm not asking for like a straight up approval right now. I just want to know if you want something else from us. Are there other documents that y'all need, right? That is one of the absolute benefits of working with an attorney and having an attorney on your file, and having an attorney that's not afraid to get in there and get a little bit scrappy when necessary. So unfortunately, I don't know how long the K1 interview right now is taking in Kenya. To be honest, I don't know how long the K1 interviews are taking all over the world. I don't know. Each individual consulate sets their own prioritization of how they work on cases. If they have a ton of business cases in the door right now, they may be internally prioritizing business cases, which will, mean your K1 family-based case could be, at the bottom of the list. If they have a ton of K1s in their consulate right now and they want to get through those, your K1 could be at the top of the list. Each consulate prioritizes based on their own workload. So unfortunately, I don't know the answer to your question. But I hope you get your interview soon. Can I get married today and file paperwork tomorrow? Yes, you can get married today, and then there is no wait time for when you then can file for your spouse. That is not a problem at all. That is planning, and that's totally fine. Now, if you're going to file tomorrow, if you've been listening to me at all on my lives, make sure you have good documents and make sure that you keep copies of everything. Okay. Make sure you have good documents and make sure you have good copies, that you keep copies of everything. So I have DACA. I want to do advanced parole, but was caught on the border when I was 8 years old. Can this be an issue with re-entry with advanced parole? I have no idea. I do not work. I generally don't handle DACA. I don't handle deportation defense. So you have hit a few things that I don't do. So I don't know. I am not the best person to answer that question for you. What else we got here? Issue DACA. Oh, that's the same question. All right. What other questions y'all got for me? I don't see anything coming out of the Facebook group either. What else do y'all have? What if the spouse refuses? What if the spouse refuses to add their spouse to bills, insurance, lease, or even a joint bank account? Neandra, you're most welcome. What if the spouse refuses to add their spouse to bills, insurance, lease, or even joint bank account? That is really a consultation question. Why is that happening? That's when I ask a lot of questions. Like I start digging in what's happening. So especially when I work with my families, right? I often tell them there are things in your relationship that you don't talk about outside the four walls of your house. You don't tell your parents, you don't tell your friends. If you have children, you may have these conversations when they're asleep at night or they're, in school during the day. There are things that you don't talk about in the four walls of your house. Those are the things, as your immigration lawyer, trying to get a green card, that I need to know about. So those are not things that I would ever dig in with you on a live or certainly in DM. But I have a lot of questions, right? Like my attorney mind starts spinning. Like I have a lot of questions as to what's happening there. As a result of that happening, what options do we have for a green card? So that is really, that's really a consultation question. It makes me kind of think a couple things are going on, but it's not up to me to guess. That's why consultations are so important. It's about, having a confidential conversation. Okay. So if that's a conversation you want to have, I'm certainly happy to have it with you. But that is definitely not a conversation I would ever dig in with you on a live. Hey, Obi, how are you? Randy, just send your, yes, Randy, you're absolutely welcome to send a message via the website. And then my assistant can get you the link so that you can schedule a consultation. Absolutely do it that way. That's not a problem at all. All right, I'm going to say the magic words, which will then invite more questions. So if there are no more questions, I will hop off and go make dinner. So every time I say that, y'all are like, wait, she's going to have dinner. I have more questions. But truly, if y'all don't have any more questions, then I will hop off and go make some dinner. And I think I'm having tuna tonight. I'm making tuna steak tonight. Maybe a salad. I haven't quite decided that part yet. All right, y'all. I don't see any more questions. Randy, I look forward to chatting with you. If y'all have any more questions, I will be back. I think I'm back tomorrow. I don't know. Oh, I'm hanging. I don't know if I'm gonna be live again tomorrow, y'all. I got some errands I gotta do tomorrow. But you are welcome to click the link in my bio. and get yourself scheduled for a consultation if you are looking to work with me. Again, I'm an immigration lawyer, but I'm not your specific immigration lawyer. There's a process. All of my engagements start with a consultation, every last one of them, employment or family-based. I work with families. I work with business owners. I work with businesses to make sure that everyone in their company who is not a U.S. citizen has the right work authorization. I help families stay together, live together under one roof, reunite. You can reach out to the office. You can call us, 954-903-1337. You are welcome to send a message on whichever platform you are engaging, whether that be my friends over on TikTok, my buddies in the private Facebook group, my friends on the Facebook page, or folks that follow us on YouTube. Instagram as well. I just don't generally tend to go live over on Instagram. And so the best way to work with me, again, will always begin with a consultation, and you can click the link. So I work with clients all over the country. I've got clients truly all over the country, so that's not a problem. I also work with folks that are not in the US. The firm is virtual, so we work with everybody. So this has been so much fun, you guys. As usual, I am gonna hop off now. I'm gonna go get some dinner. I also have some work I need to finish up this evening before I head to bed. And I will probably be on tomorrow, but I'm not quite sure yet. I got some things in my calendar I gotta work out. But I will chat with you all later. Bye, everybody.